The shouts sliced through the night, sharp and commanding. "Drop the weapons. Hands up." The forest fell silent, even the owls holding their breath. 5 hunters in full camo froze, their rifles half-raised, faces pale under the moonlight. They didn't know my lake cabin wasn't empty. Far from it. 30 FBI trainees, shadows in the woods, had them surrounded, weapons drawn, eyes like steel. One hunter stammered, "We were told this place was abandoned." Agent Harper stepped forward, badge gleaming on his vest. "You're trespassing on federal land. 5 seconds to explain who sent you." "Don't lie." The silence that followed was thicker than fog. The oldest hunter's hands shook, his gaze darting to his companions. They were scared, confused, and out of their depth. Nobody had named Cynthia Reynolds yet, but her shadow loomed large. I stood on the cabin porch, arms crossed, heart pounding not with fear, but with a slow-burning rage. I'd warned Cynthia too many times to stop acting like she owned Golden Pine Lake. Sending armed men to my property while I hosted a federal training exercise? That wasn't just bold. It was reckless. Let me take you back to where this all began, because this story didn't start with guns and trainees. It started with a quiet dream and a splintered sign. My name's Ethan Caldwell, 52, retired FBI field agent. These days, I fix up old cabins, fish, and teach self-defense to kids in our small community. 5 years ago, I bought this cabin by Golden Pine Lake, a slice of paradise with tall pines and clear water. The previous owners, an elderly couple, were happy to sell to someone who'd keep it alive. All I wanted was peace after years chasing cartels and corporate crooks. But peace doesn't last when someone like Cynthia Reynolds is around. Cynthia, late 50s, always in crisp pastel blazers and oversized sunglasses, ran the Lakeside Haven HOA up the hill. Her gated community obsessed over every detail: mailbox height, lawn colors, even approved flower types. My cabin, though, sat just outside their boundary, and that drove her wild. From the day I started renovations, she acted like I owed her answers. "Your cabin disrupts our aesthetic," she said once, striding onto my property uninvited as I hammered new shingles. "Your woodpile's an eyesore from the trail." I offered her coffee, kept things civil. I believe in giving people a chance to be decent. But Cynthia didn't want decency. She wanted control. It started small complaints about my chainsaw at noon, questions about my weekend barbecues. Then came the letters, handwritten notes on fake HOA letterhead demanding I hide my gear or limit guests to 8. I ignored them, even sent a few back with smiley faces, hoping she'd lighten up. She didn't. Things escalated when I found a private HOA property, no trespassing sign nailed to a tree by my driveway. I pulled it down, dropped it at her doorstep with a note. "Nice try, but this tree's mine." You'd think that'd be enough, but Cynthia doubled down. A week before the FBI training, a kid from my self-defense class, Miguel, ran up to me after a hike, breathless. "Mr. Caldwell, I saw men with guns near your cabin. They mentioned the HOA." That wasn't just gossip, it was a warning. I called my old friend Agent Harper, who runs an FBI training facility nearby. I offered my woods for his next survival exercise, a perfect spot to test tracking and response skills. He agreed, bringing 30 trainees, half fresh recruits, half-season camping a quarter-mile out. I set up thermal cameras and motion sensors, just in case. That Sunday, past midnight, my East Trail sensor lit up. 5 men, one with a scoped rifle, crept toward the cabin. They moved like they'd done this before, but not carefully enough. I radioed Harper. "It's time." Within minutes, the trainees had them surrounded, silent as ghosts. "Drop the weapons." Harper's voice cut through the dark. The hunters froze, one muttering about squatters. Then a walkie-talkie crackled. "Are they gone yet? Clear that cabin before sunrise. No witnesses. It's HOA business." Harper snatched the device, his voice ice cold. "This is Agent Harper, FBI. Name who sent you. Now." Silence. Then a click as the transmission cut off. I knew that voice: Cynthia Reynolds. The hunters spilled. They were hired to scare off squatters, told the cabin was a neighborhood hazard. Paid pawns, not killers, but Cynthia's plan was unraveling. Harper logged their names, confiscated their rifles, and let them go for now. I didn't press charges yet. I wanted her to know I wasn't running. The next morning, I walked into town, boots hitting the ground hard. At Millie's diner, I told the owner, a silver-haired woman in her 60s, about the armed men. The place went quiet. "You called the sheriff?" she asked. "Didn't need to. FBI was there." Jaws dropped. Back at the cabin, 2 notes were pinned to my gate. One, in bold red, claimed I violated Community Safety Code 912. The other, scrawled in haste, read, "You shouldn't have brought the FBI. You're endangering everyone." Final warning. Cynthia's nerve was almost admirable. I dug out my old field binder, pulling a 1989 land deed proving my lot was never HOA property. I mailed copies to every Lakeside Haven board member with one line: "Ask Cynthia for the real deed." That evening, my cameras caught 6 figures sneaking around, snapping photos. Cynthia was there, in her peach blazer, directing them. A crash followed, a shed window shattered. I sprinted over, finding not Cynthia, but Sarah Thompson, a former town clerk, crouched and bleeding. "Ethan, I didn't know they'd break in," she sobbed. Cynthia said we were just documenting violations. She'd been fed lies about me hiding military gear. I bandaged her hand, but before we could talk more, Harper signaled. 3 SUVs at the trail's end. Sheriff Tom Larson stepped out with Cynthia, who accused me of harboring rogue agents. I showed the sheriff the deed on my phone. He sighed. "That line hasn't changed since the 80s. Cynthia faltered, claiming updated HOA maps. Harper shut her down. "Your map overrides federal records?" Sarah spoke up, exposing Cynthia's lies to the HOA board. The sheriff took Cynthia to the station. I thought it was over. I was wrong. The next morning, Miguel called, voice trembling. "Someone's following me." Same guy from the woods. My gut twisted. I drove to his cul-de-sac, spotting no one but feeling eyes everywhere. Harper confirmed Cynthia wasn't Alonia Shell Company. Haven Crest Holdings had paid the hunters. It was registered in 3 states, no real business. The name echoed Cynthia's HOA. This wasn't about my cabin. It was about the lake. I called a town meeting at the church hall. Dozens came: fishermen, teachers, even ex-HOA members. I showed the deed, the footage, Cynthia's walkie-talkie audio, and Haven Crest's records. Whispers turned to outrage. Mr. Delaney, a retired plumber, revealed his dock was vandalized after refusing a buyout. Sarah admitted seeing deed rewrites years ago, likely setting up this scheme. Miguel's grandmother stood. Enough fear. We stand together. But they hit back. My cameras were blacked out, my door spray painted. Final notice, Caldwell. Harper's team found Haven Crest tied to a land acquisition group with overseas ties, targeting rare earth metals, lithium, cobalt beneath the lake. Cynthia was a pawn in a bigger game. Then Sarah's cabin burned. Accelerant matched the gel from an earlier attack on my shed. She stood in the ashes, whispering, "This is war." The FBI turned my cabin into a fortress. Agent Monroe, a no-nonsense veteran, took charge. Drones patrolled, snipers watched. A sealed file revealed a planned resort to mask strip mining. That night, drones caught 3 masked men with incendiaries. Flashbangs took 2 down, 1 fled. They carried Cynthia's HOA key fob. Then a suit offered me double market value to sell. "It's about lake access," he said, smiling. I said no. Hours later, Sarah's cabin was torched. Roads to Golden Pine were blocked by private security and fake government signs. A boat fled across the lake, tracked by drones to an airstrip. The man jumped overboard, vanishing. Signals jammed. We used a solar-powered unit for a live stream. I told the world everything 200,000 watched. Save Golden Pine trended. Cynthia was caught at the airport, silent in cuffs. Haven Crest collapsed, assets frozen. Sarah's cabin was rebuilt. Miguel got a scholarship. I'm still here, coffee in hand, the lake quiet. We didn't win with guns, but with truth. If someone's pushing you off your land, stand tall. You're not alone.